And welcome back here to the Velodrome in Marseille as we get set for this quarterfinal World Cup '98 matchup between Argentina and Holland. I'm joined now by Mike Hill. And Mike, the way these two teams got through to the quarterfinals, much different avenues. First of all, for Holland, they struggled a little bit, played a couple of draws, absolutely dismantled South Korea by a 5-0 score, but then caught a huge break against Yugoslavia.
Yes, at 1-1, Yugoslavia awarded a penalty, and of all players, Mahatovic's shot comes back off the woodwork. That really was a let-off for Holland. They struggled for the rest of the game, but in stoppage time, Edgar Davids, the player recalled from the wilderness, got the all-important winner.
Meanwhile, for Argentina, they waltzed through to the round of 16, but then they met England.
Yes, they certainly did meet England in perhaps the game of the tournament so far. England finishing up with 10 men, but just on the stroke of half-time with England leading 2-1, Zanetti scored this brilliant goal to tie it all up. It stayed like that until the end of extra time, into a penalty shootout, and Carlos Roa, the goalkeeper, came up big with that final stop from David Batty, and Argentina were through.
So Argentina and Holland coming up from the Velodrome in Marseille, and Brent and Ty will be back with more of our World Cup '98 studios after this.
World Cup '98 on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Nike. Canon. So advanced, it's simple. Brewery Fresh Budweiser. Official beer of World Cup France '98. This Bud's for you. And British Airways, the world's favorite airline.
Here's to all those who dream of being a champion.
I wanna get close to you with my sure shot zoom. It's fun to do from across the room. I just zoom and you come shining through.
Get your shot with a sure shot zoom, like the 105.
There's no way I'll miss a shot like this. What a lovely close-up view. I wanna get close to you.
Get one of the sure shot zooms from Canon.
Great innovations in television. May 11th, 1966. A tired salesman unwittingly invents a better way to watch TV.
Don't forget the last of the quarterfinal matchups. Live 2:30 Eastern, Germany and Croatia. Well, don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is, I never left you. I'm still going for them, even though I know they're not rested.
Well, Holland has had the extra day's rest compared to Argentina. And also, I think Patrick Kluivert for Holland really has something to prove after his suspension.
This could be a dandy. Holland against Argentina. Both sides with a lot to prove as they step onto the pitch in Marseille. Roger Twibel coming up next.
There is a business class seat that tilts as a whole, raising your knees, distributing your weight evenly, and relaxing every part of your body, which makes it oh so easy to drift off. the Club World Cradle Seat. Only on British Airways, the world's favorite airline.
One day, a young designer decided he could change the very shape of the world. How could he be so brash, so bold, so utterly successful? He simply discovered a doorway to the world that in the blink of an eye let him travel farther, set his sights higher, and look in directions he never could before. He wasn't always so daring, but with FedEx, it's the way the world works.
Honey, you went out for milk 3 days ago. Come home now.
It's just more fun to drive. The all-new Accord from Honda.
Ticket to Paris, $800. Hotel room on the left bank, $230. Metro Pass, $45. Faith, hope, and glory. Priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, preferred card of the 1998 World Cup, supporter of the beautiful game.
Somewhere between steel strings and skins, there's brass. Over brass and ivory lingers a cinder gray haze. And when that ensemble comes together in perfect harmony, they make up a color called blues. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon. Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is reality.
Find out from Armageddon stars Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck why they think this film may be more fact than fiction. Hosted by Leonard Nimoy. Armageddon. Target Earth. ABC Wednesday.
What a spectacular setting here at the Velodrome in Marseille. 60,000 fans, the colors of Argentina, the colors of Holland. As we move to our starting lineups, brought to you by Budweiser. Mike?
Well, for Holland, they've had one bad scare, and that is that Mark Overmars got an injured hamstring in training, so he, in fact, is omitted. There's two changes from the side that beat Yugoslavia 2-1. Wim Jonk comes back into the starting lineup, and Patrick Kluivert, who was sensationally sent off in the opening game, also gets a recall.
And now, Mike, how about Argentina?
Well, Argentina made one change from the side that overcame England, and Roberto Sensini, who's missed the last couple of games through injury, gets a recall, and Vivas is the player who's omitted. He moves to the substitutes bench.
All right, now, Michael, how about the omissions of the match? How do you think this thing is going to evolve today, first with Holland?
Well, I think they've got to use the speed on the wings. They're certainly now going to miss Mark Overmars, but Arthur Newman is very good overlapping, and they've also got to close down Veron and Ortega in midfield. As for Argentina, well, it's going to be interesting to see if they can overcome physical and emotional recovery after that game against England. But they've also got to get some good service to Batistuta. I know he scored 5 goals, but he hasn't received good service so far.
The referee is from Mexico, Arturo Bricio Carter. This is the 3rd game of World Cup '98 that he has officiated, and he's wielded a stern hand, Mike. He did the France-Saudi Arabia match, dished out 4 yellows and the red to Zidane, and then England and Colombia, 5 yellow cards.
Yes, he doesn't stand any nonsense, and I think this game might need a strong referee. Both these sides, very committed teams.
Of course, Holland in their very familiar orange, as their fans are here in huge numbers, and then the very stylish blue and white striped jerseys of Argentina. Daniel Passarella, the coach for Argentina, and we heard about his story and, of course, the tragedy with his son in our pregame show. Bergkamp, boy, a lot of weight will fall on his shoulders today without Overmars out there.
Yeah, certainly for Dennis Bergkamp, he is a key man for Holland. Not only as a player, he's also got to sort of hold back that little temper that he's got. Sometimes he easily gets niggled, and he was perhaps fortunate not to get a booking against Yugoslavia. So he's certainly got to keep his emotions intact for this game.
And it'll be interesting to watch Batistuta today. Remember, he was taken out in the 68th minute of their last game, and we at ABC Sports wish to thank Budweiser, British Airways, Nike, Honda, and Canon for allowing us to bring you today's game commercial-free. This portion of today's game is presented by Budweiser, commercial-free. We underway. Davids. Ronald DeBoer is 7. Now Newman sends it down to the corner. Davids gives chase and not able to save it. There is Edgar Davids, who came up, Mike, so huge in the game against Yugoslavia.
Yes, and he's going to need another big game today as well, because it's so important that one of these teams grabs hold of the midfield. It's some very interesting individual battles going on out there, and there's one of the danger men, Veron.
Yeah, Veron sends the long ball, and now the battle down at the other end is Claudio Lopez trying to run onto it. Lopez being hounded there by Reisiger.
Yes, and Reisiger gets the free kick. Michael Reisiger, who got a bruised foot against Yugoslavia, was one of the doubts for this game, but passed the late fitness test and plays.
Now the series history, Holland leads 2-1-1, but Mike, the game they lost is the one they'll never forget.
Yes, that World Cup final in Buenos Aires in 1978. Argentina's only win. It was the one, as you say, that counted most.
Ball taken from Bergkamp as Ortega, number 10, trying to go through some defenders, and he can't do it, but now the referee comes over and signals a foul. Ariel Ortega is 24 years of age. He's had 2 goals and 2 assists so far in this tournament. He's played awfully well. As you look at the man who's come off Cocu to take Kluivert's place in those games and really made a name for himself.
Yes, he's coming off a very good season with PSV. He's off to Barcelona next year, and a lot of people were surprised that he got a spot in the starting lineup for Holland, but he's done nothing wrong in this tournament. And Gus Hiddink has got to keep playing him because he keeps producing the goods.
It's going to be interesting to see how Kluivert fits into this mix, because Holland has really played some stylish soccer here, really looked like a team, Mike.
Yes, they've played some very good football. Patrick Kluivert, when he's on song, he does give them that edge. He's a very, very good goal scorer, a good goal poacher.
Ball sent inside, dangerous situation, and Holland's defenders able to come up with it. Sensini came from deep that time. Ortega still trying to maintain control, but finally 3 defenders as Davids gets it out. And down the near side, Argentina will take control, and of course we would like to wish everybody back home a very, very safe and happy 4th of July holiday. In Marseille today, the winds are blowing, but not too bad, as the temperature's hovering in the mid to high 80s. There has not been any rain here for over 5 weeks. Les Mistral, the wind that affects this area about 100 days of the year, generally in the summer, and that keeps all those storm clouds away, and consequently these beautiful blue skies, and just a wonderful area here in the south of France. Makes for, Mike, perfect conditions to play this game.
Yes, the pitch is in very, very good condition. And this breeze, I think the players will certainly appreciate it. It is warm, but the breeze will just help them keep cool. And both these sides are very fast-moving sides. Both put a lot of work and do a lot of running off the ball, so these conditions should suit them.
Stam was over there on the far side, battling. There's Jaap Stam. He's had a couple of defensive problems in this tournament.
Yes, I got a feeling that Argentina today will try to isolate him one-on-one with that man Batistuta, because Jaap Stam, although he's the world's most expensive defender, he hasn't played like it. A couple of schoolboy errors have led to goals in Holland's previous matches, so perhaps not quite at the top of his game at the moment.
Well, we saw the one against Mexico with Hernandez right at the end of the game that allowed Mexico to come from behind to get a 2-2 tie. Now Argentina having a little trouble in the back. Dangerous situation here as Roa goes back into the goal. Bergkamp centers the ball. Cocu brings it down. There's a point-blank shot off the post. Brought down again. Kluivert tries it. He can't get it. Still battling. Oh, what a sequence right there for Holland.
Well, Vignon had a opportunity here. He only found the woodwork as that shot from Philip Koku deflects off the defender. The goalkeeper there was beaten all ends up, and Jonk there just couldn't get it inside the near post.
Came right back at him too, Mike, and he couldn't do anything with it. Now the corner by Wim Jonk. Dangerous ball, but Roa is able to jump up and grab it. So a powerful sequence right there for Holland.
Yes, the goalkeeper there put under pressure by Patrick Kluivert.
Roa at 6'3", very good size. He's a presence there. He has not really, though, Mike, been challenged that much in this tournament.
No, he certainly hasn't. He's had a comfortable tournament so far.
Well, the World Cup history for these two teams, Holland and Argentina, and Argentina 29 victories in their illustrious history.
Yes, they've been a regular at World Cup finals, not so for Holland, although, of course, runners-up in 74 and again in 78.
Now Ronald de Boer trying to find Kluivert. I would imagine it's going to take Kluivert a little bit of time to get his bearings. He was given the red card in the 81st minute against Belgium and hasn't played since then.
Yes, I mean, he's kept fit, he's trained regularly, but there's a lot of difference between being fit and actually being game fit, match fit. And it might take him a little while just to slip into the rhythm of the team.
Jonk sends the ball down in the midfield area. That's Ronald de Boer. He's had a couple of goals in this tournament. Davids to the near side to Arthur Newman, the quiet man. He's played very solid from his defensive position. Now in the middle, Veron is 11. And the flag goes up. Now brought down.
Yeah, the referee there just playing the advantage rule and letting play continue. That's nice to see.
Ortega battling there, and the man closest to him, Davids, and the foul.
There's going to be a real midfield scrap there with Edgar Davids. They've nicknamed him the Pitbull, and he tackles like one as well. He doesn't take a backward step.
That was a quick start for Argentina. Mike, is it of any significance that the referees from Mexico and two of the assistants are from Paraguay and Honduras, countries, you know, in that Latin area, speak Spanish?
Well, I think FIFA would have liked, in fact, to have perhaps found some neutral referees from a different confederation, but we're getting down now to the final stages, and a lot of the referees now have been sent home. Only a few have been left, and perhaps there's not anybody from a different confederation from these two sides, although Mexico, of course, is part of CONCACAF, and FIFA don't recognize that as part of South America anyway. But Fabrizio Carter, he's a very experienced referee. He handled the opening game at the '94 World Cup in Chicago, so he's pretty fair as well, so I don't think either of these sides will have any complaint.
You saw the work of Sensini there with that nice tackle on Newman, as there's a push down at the other end as Stam got pushed in the back that time, able to stay with the ball. Yep, Stam.
Yeah, Sensini's a real favorite of Passarella's. Does a very good job in midfield. Player with a lot of experience.
Ronald de Boer chasing the ball down on the far side.
Sensini is the longest serving player for Argentina in this team. He made his debut back in 1987.
Now Argentina pressing the attack. Ball comes right in, though, to Van der Sar. And the Ironmen for Holland. You see Frank de Boer, Overmars, Stam, and Koku. Of course, Overmars not playing today because the injury he suffered in practice.
Yes, all those players have played every minute of the previous 4 matches. That's 360 in all. A lot of players have played in each of the games. Sometimes, though, they have been substituted or have come on as a substitute.
In the 10th minute here from the Velodrome in Marseille. This is the oldest city in France, and Mike, they held the draw here back on December the 4th, and this is the football capital of France.
Yes, and Olympique Marseille, the local side, never far from the top in France. Of course, they've had a checkered career in the last decade or so, as we see Gus Hiddink, the Dutch coach, showing a little bit of nerves, in fact, and not surprising.
Well, Overmars has shown so well in this tournament, such a quick first step. He makes so many things happen, and he has a goal, and he will be sorely missed as Ortega doing battle with Stam. Yes, a yellow card coming out. So
a yellow card for Jaap Stam.
And Holland had no yellow cards coming into this game, where Argentina with 4 players with yellow.
Yes, he just caught Ortega from behind, and the referee got a good view of that.
Well, this referee, Arturo Pizzo Carter of Mexico, he's an attorney by trade, and he has been very strict, has not been afraid to hand out cards, and that's what FIFA wanted. I mean, they wanted...
Yes, so the referees have been put under a lot of pressure by Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini, who criticised them after about the first 10 games. They weren't giving up enough cards.
Now the free kick, Batistuta, and off Davids. Well, he was quick out there, wasn't he, Mike?
He was very quick off the mark, Edgar Davids. But actually, since that criticism, we've had more cards here than they get in Las Vegas. I mean, the referees have really gone crazy.
What are the kind of cards you like? You know, are they good cards? You're always looking for those good cards in Vegas.
I think a lot of the players would dispute some of those cards, but the one thing it has done is put defenders now on notice that they've got to be a bit more careful with their challenges. And I suppose the good thing that's going to come out of this is that the skilled players now feel they might have got a little bit more protection, and they might try a few more things, and that's all good for the game.
That was Bergkamp in the middle now. Ronald de Boer. Ronald de Boer running through. De Boer to Bergkamp off the head. Kluivert! Score! Holland!
Kluivert has broken the deadlock. All started with this very good run from midfield from Ronald de Boer. He picked out Dennis Bergkamp, who was completely off balance, but somehow nodded it into the path of Kluivert, who just lifted over the advancing goalkeeper. Well, a marvellous cushion header there from Dennis Bergkamp, right into the path of Kluivert. He kept his cool. He just chipped it over the goalkeeper, didn't try to break the back of the net.
The 9th goal for Kluivert, and this is 22nd international appearance for Holland. And this portion of today's game is presented by British Airways, commercial free. And now Argentina with Ortega trying to come through, and they say play on. Holland got the space. They created that goal with some precision passing, and de Boer in the middle's had a wonderful tournament.
Yes, Ronald de Boer, who's rumoured to be off to Arsenal next season, leaving Ajax, and he certainly has had a very good tournament. He's fallen into a few different roles, in fact, in all matches, but each time he's come up trumps, and he's done the job that his coach has asked of him, so he can't really do much more.
Of course, his twin brother, Frank, wearing number 4, the team captain. Frank, 15 minutes younger than Ronald. Once again, this is Ortega. Stam trying to be very careful as Batistuta was running right there, and Ronald de Boer will send it in the midfield. Ball coming to the near side, and across the line, throw-in will go to Holland. Passarella, the coach of Argentina,
is captain of World Cup winning side and looking to join a select band of one with Franz Beckenbauer as a captain of a World Cup winning side and as a coach.
Now they've given the ball over to Argentina for the throw-in. Out of the shadows here at the Velodrome. About a 4:45 here in Marseille. As Holland has taken the 1-0 lead on the goal by Patrick Kluivert, playing today because Mark Overmars suffered an injury in training. Kluivert's first action since the first game of this tournament against Belgium, when he was given the red card, missed 2 games, and then by a coach's decision did not play against Yugoslavia.
It's interesting. Mark Overmars, in fact, was out warming up with the players, and you just got to think that perhaps if things aren't going right with about 15 minutes to go, that Gus Hiddink might just throw him in. He seemed to be moving quite freely, but he has named him as one of the substitutes, so we may see him later on if Holland are in a desperate position, but they're certainly not at the moment.
And this portion of today's game is presented by Nike, commercial free. Stam to Davids. Davids is so strong, built so low to the ground. As the takedown right there, as Ortega trying to run by Newman. And Newman got the worst of that mix-up.
So Arthur Newman in some pain at the moment. Slide it in.
That's painful.
Yeah, it's not bringing tears to your eyes. He really is in agony at the moment out there.
Holland is in their 7th World Cup. At US 94, they lost a quarterfinal match to Brazil in Dallas 3-2. And now a yellow card is brought out. And I want to remind you, later today at 2:30 Eastern time here on ABC Sports, Germany against Croatia. Germany's looking to win their 4th World Cup title, and of course Croatia making their 1st World Cup appearance.
Well, I can only think that the referee has given Arthur Newman a yellow card.
Veron, number 11, in the middle, trying to run through. Batistuta, Veron!
Well, Veron there with that run from midfield, and he got behind the Dutch defence. It just needed perhaps a bit firmer touch. That's what he does so well, Juan Veron.
Well, he's known as Bruita. That's the little wizard. And no flag up. Oh, there it is for Argentina! Claudio Lopez!
Well, the Dutch defence stopped.
They absolutely stopped, Mike.
Well, it's his first goal in the World Cup finals. And coming in the 18th minute. Let's see if it's... Well, certainly when the ball was played, he was onside. The Dutch defenders there stepping forward, putting their hand up. But remember, the offside is when the ball is played, not when the man receives it. And certainly when the ball was played, he was in an onside position and put it through the legs of Van der Sar.
Great patience there by Lopez. Van der Sar, 6'6", and covers a lot of area. Look at that, just got it right underneath the strip.
Yes, he waited for Van der Sar to commit himself, and Van der Sar stood his ground for as long as he could. Then he had to make a move. Lopez waited.
So we are tied at 1 here in Marseille between Holland and Argentina, as the foul called over on the far side, and it was Ronald de Boer who was brought down. Now the free kick. Trying to get Kluivert in position. Wim Jonk getting set to take the free kick. Ball inside, and Roa was there as it looked like Bergkamp got a piece of it.
It's not a firm enough header, though, from Dennis Bergkamp.
You know, Lopez had that big goal in May in that 1-0 Argentina victory over Brazil. Just a friendly match, but I don't know if it ever could be called a friendly between those two countries.
No, he doesn't score too often either, but I mean, he seems to score the goals when they're really needed. And I mean, that victory over Brazil was such a good psychological boost for Argentina. And now, of course, tying it all up here.
We talked at the top how these two teams had scored 18 goals between them coming in, and now a couple of players that we haven't heard from in the goal scoring category have come through so far today.
Yes, both these sides good all-round teams, players that can really adapt to different jobs, as we've spoke already about total football. Well, I suppose I know Holland played total football, but Argentina, this Argentine side, is not too far from it. Certainly it's not the cynical side that we saw in Italia 90. It's not the side that's been pulled apart as it was in '94 after the Diego Maradona drug incident.
We haven't called the name of Batistuta too much so far today.
He's doing a lot of running off the ball. He's making himself available, but again, he's still not getting the service, but he's won it this time from Newman.
Batistuta, and well, there was a thought there, obviously, that the other player next to him was not on the same wavelength, as we're in the 21st minute here from Marseille, tied at 1 in this quarterfinal matchup between Holland and Argentina. And Mike, the winner goes on to meet Brazil.
Yes, here on Tuesday night.
Nicely done over there by Simeone, but De Boer there to get it back.
This isn't a
World Cup coverage continues with ABC Sports Online's exclusive replay, video highlights, sounds, and features from France. ABC Sports Online on AOL, keyword ABC Sports.
There's Brazil here on Tuesday night. This hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Brazil. Of course, they lost a World Cup semi-final here in 1938. Of course, they also lost here to Norway 2-1 in this year's competition. So this hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Brazil.
That was against Italy back in 1938, right here at the Velodrome, before it was reconfigured. Much smaller stadium back then. All the stadiums here in France have been rebuilt for this World Cup. As Cocu on the near side, Bergkamp now tripped up, and now a card's coming in. And the card delivered to Jose Chamat. And as we mentioned, this man puts up with no nonsense. The referee from Mexico, Arturo Mauricio Carter.
Yes, 3 yellow cards now.
Free kick inside, headed out there by Argentina. The players who had the yellow coming in today for Argentina, Veron, Simeone, Alameda, and Roa, the keeper. Remember, got that yellow late in the game against England.
Yes, he got it during the penalty shootout. In fact, the referee didn't like some of his antics of trying to put the England penalty takers off, and gave him the yellow card.
Now the throw in by Ronald De Boer. Waits for a few of his players to come back down. He'll send it into his brother Frank, the team captain. Second set of twins to play for Holland. Newman. Batistuta there playing some defense that time. Mike, that's an unusual sight at times as Newman gets it back from Zanetti. I think Davids, he just looks for people to challenge him, you know. The closer he gets, the better he likes it.
Yes, it's been a great comeback for Edgar Davids, sent home from Euro 96 in disgrace, and only just recalled to the squad before the start of this World Cup series.
Jim Young, Davids with some disparaging comments to his coach at that time. Bergkamp, not quite there, as you saw Sensini right behind him.
Yes, and that's why Passarella is so happy to see Sensini back there.
Now the foot race down the far side. Lopez, and can it be cleared out by De Boer? And then finally, Van der Sar. So dangerous situation. Batistuta was coming down in that area, but once again, Claudio Lopez.
Davids penalized for that challenge.
What about these keepers, Van der Sar and Roa?
Well, neither of them have really been overworked so far in this tournament, and both of them have been quite capable. But see both now have conceded an extra goal as the score is 1-1 here today.
Long ball set in, and will they get a corner?
Yes, they came off the head of Frank De Boer. Kept his eye on the ball.
Simeone was over there.
And yep, stand there, really having to struggle with that challenge earlier.
So the corner for Argentina, as Veron will go over to take it. Tied at 1 here in Marseille. And right to Van der Sar. Sending a long ball down, but headed there by Roa.
It's had to come well out of his penalty area.
Clivert. Ooh, Clivert with some good work there. And Bergkamp thought maybe somebody was on the other side of him, and he let the ball go through.
It wasn't the best of passes from Patrick Clivert to Dennis Bergkamp.
Once again, we've had a lot of long balls here in this game. Mike, maybe something that Argentina see in the Holland previous games and leads them to believe they can take advantage of it.
Well, both sides are so well organized, and I think both coaches realize that. I think the instructions to the defenders, if there is a gap there, get the ball forward quickly. It's all very nice to play pretty football through midfield, but when you've got two well-organized defenses.
Davids, long run. Edgar Davids, a shot! Oh, he has got a powerful left foot.
Well, what a good run there from Edgar Davids from midfield. There was such a hole there because the Argentine defense was dropping back, covering players, and they challenged him just to come forward, and he certainly did that. It was always going to be an awkward angle, but he hit it sweetly, but off target.
Argentina once again on the attack. Batistuta let it go through there as Ortega now sends it, and a weak shot brought in by number 8 Diego Simeone, the captain of Argentina. This is the third quarterfinal game that Argentina's played. They beat Yugoslavia on penalties in 1990. Newman, very quiet start. Arthur Newman, 27 years of age, his 34th appearance. He was captain of their Olympic team. Just a good, solid defender, isn't he, Mike?
Yes, certainly is.
This portion of today's game is presented by Honda, commercial free. Koku, Wim Jonk. Reisiger on the far side will get it back to Ronald de Boer. Precision passing. Excellent anticipation. Knowing where the other players are at all time. That's a trademark of this total football that Holland plays. And here are the total fouls for these two teams, including today. And what a difference there between Argentina and Holland.
It's 160 fouls between them. It's pretty even out there on today's game so far.
Now Simeone not able to do much there, as once again Claudio Lopez has been a presence today.
I think the general consensus of opinion was that he might be the player who would be omitted because he didn't have the best of games against England. He really hasn't found his form so far in this World Cup, but he certainly found it this afternoon. He perhaps looks the most dangerous of the Argentine front players at the moment.
Some people say the only reason he's here is he's just a personal favorite of Passarella. As player brought down over on the far side was Reisiger.
I think Passarella is too shrewd for that. He's going to put the best, or bring the best 22 players and put the best 11 on the field that he thinks can do the job.
Ronald de Boer now trying to work on Simeone, and the flag goes up. Now Simeone and Ronald de Boer patting each other on the back.
Yeah, Simeone there showing all his experience, just putting his body there, and meaning that Ronald de Boer had to do some pulling and some pushing.
Well, we are in Marseille at the Velodrome today. Holland and Argentina. Holland in the orange and Argentina in the blue and white stripes. Tied at 1. I'm Roger Twibell, along with Mike Hill, and hope you're enjoying the start to a very happy and safe 4th of July holiday as we are here in this beautiful city on the Mediterranean. Temperatures in the mid to high 80s, but a nice breeze. The wind here in this trial. Now Bergkamp able to keep it alive. De Boer, Kluivert, Davids, off Roa, and Kluivert came in there and just couldn't do anything with the rebound.
Good shot at the game from Edgar Davids, and the goalkeeper here not looking too comfortable with this at all.
That's great stuff, isn't it, Mike?
Edgar Davids, you can see the turn on it. The goalkeeper there committed himself one way, and then in the end just had to stick a foot out because that ball was just curling away from him.
Now Zanetti trying to chase the ball down the near side across the line, and a throw in for Holland. Zanetti liked the idea. Javier Zanetti has had a goal so far in this tournament. Control that. Ferron, Batistuta giving chase, but cleared out there by Frank de Boer. Holland able to use their head on that defensive set, and once again Batistuta still not getting many touches here today, Mike.
No, he's come searching for the ball. He's chasing back in midfield. The Dutch would be quite happy to see him in that area, but he's such an explosive player that if you give him half a chance, he could very easily punish you. But unfortunately, the chances have not been coming too frequently for him in the last game or so.
Edgar Davids, he has been a presence coming forward so far today. Kluivert battling, trying to get the ball. Cleared out, though.
Well, Patrick Kluivert had his shirt ripped. He's talking to the referee, and the referee is just not interested.
There's been a lot of holding and grabbing in this tournament, as Kluivert's got it on top. Kluivert, such an immense talent on the field, has had his problems off the field.
Yes, I think the referee's certainly concentrating on the tackles from behind, but I think perhaps the next thing FIFA should look at is perhaps some of the holding and the pulling that goes on.
There seems to be more of that than I remember from the '94 World Cup. Really a lot of grabbing, holding on the shirts as the players are running by.
Well, the defenders now can't chop the attackers down, can they? They're going to get penalized, so they've got to find other ways around it.
Reisiger gets a foot on it. Davids wins the ball in the air. Newman touched by Kluivert. Bergkamp, and tackled away, and nicely done there by Ariel Ortega, who slips on the near side. And look at Davids comes. He is just so strong.
It's given the name of Pitbull by Louis van Gaal during his days at Ajax, where he came through the Ajax youth system.
And who hasn't on this Holland?
Well, actually 13 of the 22 players in the Dutch squad have been associated with Ajax in one stage of their career or another.
Passarella's come out to the side, and he's motioning to Batistuta as we move to the 33rd minute. So Passarella passing along some instructions as Ferron will run onto that ball and get it to Lopez on the far side. Claudio Lopez. Now here comes Batistuta with Stam right there. And across the far side, throw in for Argentina.
Yeah, Jaap Stam has really struggled in this tournament. Not quite the commanding figure at the back that we expected.
Jaap Stam used to play with Ernie Stewart of the U.S. team in Holland. This portion of today's game is presented by Canon, commercial free. Now Batistuta with it, tried to bring it on to Simeone, and cleared out nicely. Oh, look at this. Then Jank found Newman coming down the near side, and I guarantee you, Mike, he didn't see him when he touched the ball. Now Kluivert to Newman. Newman, will he take a shot? Will he take it? Now to Kluivert. Oh, just touched at the last moment there by Shaman.
Yes, Newman not the most accurate of shooters, doesn't score many goals, and I think that time instead of taking the go himself, he tried to set it up for Patrick Kluivert, but he had so many defenders around him.
Now Jank. Ronald de Boer on the far side. See, de Boer been working a lot in the middle. Now he's on the wing over there. A couple of really nice moves. Jank, the blast. No, save by Roa.
Well, another good strike from Wim Jonk. A player who started his career at Ajax and had a disappointing time in Italy with Inter Milan, but certainly discovered his goal-scoring form on his return to Holland with PSV. Such a good striker of the ball from outside the penalty area.
So Jank will take the corner kick, the 31-year-old, with a very high ball here that Cocu tries to go up and get. And the referee is
I think he's penalized Koku. He's allowing play to carry on.
Yeah, Koku rubbing his head. He had 2 defenders around him, and now the Argentine player goes down on the near side. Bergkamp was right over by Vero. Excuse me, that was Ortega. And it just seemed like just a bit of a kick.
Yeah, bit of a delayed reaction dive as well, wasn't it?
Quick move there by Veron. And once again, the ball won by Davids. I mean, he has won so many balls already in this game. I want to remind you the NFL in prime times exclusively on ABC and ESPN this fall. Sunday Night Football on ESPN, and the coverage begins at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific on September the 6th. And then Monday Night Football on ABC, a new time, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and that begins on September the 7th. Sunday night and Monday night NFL football on ESPN and ABC. We're tied at 1 here in Marseille. Holland and Argentina, and the flag goes up. Offside.
Oh, no wonder Ronald de Boer is annoyed with that decision. It seemed to be very, very strange, to say the least.
Very subjective call, isn't it, Mike? Everyone sees it differently. As we move to the 37th minute here. An absolutely glorious day in Marseille. Veron gets it back to Ortega. Batistuta has been bottled up so far in the first half. He is the co-leader in goals scored so far in this tournament with 5. He's got 9 in his career. He had 4 in '94 as Reisiger has to head the ball across the line on a corner coming up for Argentina.
Yes, Michael Reisiger there under pressure from Lopez. Couldn't afford to make the mistake and went for safety first, although he's conceded the corner.
And Lopez will go over to take the corner. Swerving ball headed out.
Yes, Wim Jonk at the near post with that heady clearance.
Ortega will take a blaster outside off the post. Oh, goodness.
Well, both sides now have hit the woodwork. Van der Sar there was beaten from that shot from Ortega. Curling away from Van der Sar. Didn't get a touch.
And quickly now down to the other end. Kluivert has come up with a very long ball by the Dutch. And Kluivert will send it back out. Ronald de Boer trying to chip it inside. He was saying it was a handball, but he's not getting the call. Almeida, number 5 for Argentina. Ortega now sends it on up. Lopez always looking for Batistuta, always looking, but not that time as Van der Sar was right there. Now quickly, Jonk gives chase. And de Boer able to save it on the far side. Kluivert off the head of Sensini. And Argentina able to get back in a defensive posture to stop Holland that time.
It's an old saying, Roger, but we always say it's nice if you get an early goal. Well, we got a couple of early goals in this game, which has really opened it up. It's been end-to-end action. Both sides capable of playing some good football, and both sides have played some good football. There is a competitive edge to it, as we expected. It is a quarter-final of the World Cup. But really, this game has been hyped up a lot here in France, but at the moment it's living up to all expectations. I think the big question mark, though, is going to be, as this game continues on, if Argentina can survive, as we look at the danger zone in this game, and so it's very, very close. Only 2 difference, 21-19. The chances created, in fact, favour Argentina, although Holland have got off 50% more shots.
Koku, a little bit lackadaisical chasing that ball, and Van der Sar has to come out. Sends it down the near side, kept alive there by Ortega. And now Ortega lets it go, and it'll be a throw-in for Holland. What we found, I think, is Passarella disputing that, and he did get the change as the referee gives it back to Argentina after the assistant on this side had signaled for Holland. But I think it goes without saying that when we've seen an early goal in this tournament, the action has really opened up, and Davids Looked like the ball got trapped between Davids and Almeida.
Yes, there was a handball there from Almeida. And I mean, at the moment, those 50-50 decisions are all favoring Argentina from this Mexican referee. That could have gone either way.
Verón, 11, gets it over to Chamat. Chamat now sending the ball as Zanetti was running through as we're in the 41st minute here from Marseille at the Velodrome.
Here's the shot that came off the woodwork. A let off there for Holland. Of course, Holland themselves hitting the woodwork early in this game before, in fact, they'd opened the scoring.
Did he get all of his body into that shot?
Yes, he put everything into that one, didn't he?
So Holland and Argentina, it's been a physical first half so far. Nothing dirty, but just some good, solid soccer as Wim Jonk chipping it on to Bergkamp. Bergkamp now coming back. Oh, goodness, just across the face of the goal. And Roa.
Well, it looked like a lost opportunity there, but somehow Bergkamp got on the end of it, and he was able to get it across. It's Bergkamp, who was the leading goal scorer for Holland in the qualifiers, 7 goals in 6 qualifiers. In his debut back in 1990.
Verón, who's had just a terrific tournament. He's had a couple of assists. That is Verón right there. And handball.
He's pulled that one against Wim Jonk.
Off the elbow there.
Came off the elbow. He's hitting the coach of the Dutch national side.
Hitting a player in the old North American Soccer League for both the Washington Diplomats and the San Jose Earthquakes. As Almeida there with Verón to start this.
Yeah, the great thing that Hitting's done so far is kept all the tensions that always seem to surround Dutch sides below the surface and kept all the players focused on trying to win this World Cup. That in itself is quite an achievement.
Jonk sends a long ball down to Bergkamp. And chased down nicely there by Ayala.
Yes, he did well to stop that going out for a corner as well.
Sensini 6.
Well, Sensini there just seemed to slip, but referee decides that's a free kick.
Minutes remaining here in the first half with the score tied at 1. Holland got the first goal. Argentina countered shortly thereafter. As Batistuta battling with Newman, and Newman goes down, but then he decides to get up in a hurry when he saw the open field. Ortega, number 10. Ortega brought down, and a free kick for Argentina.
Yes, and brought down by Yapstam, who's already got a yellow card, so he's got to tread very carefully. Yapstam got a yellow card for a similar challenge earlier on, and this time the referee doesn't give the yellow card, just the inconsistency. Which is still there despite all FIFA's good efforts.
28-year-old Edwin van der Sar.
Yeah, 6'6".
Yeah, some people thought, Mike, that after their win over Yugoslavia, that there was some trouble between the team, and actually Van der Sar got tangled up at the bottom of the pile, was simply trying to get out because he couldn't breathe, and they thought Van der Sar and another player were scuffling. Batistuta runs by it. Verón off the head. We've seen some tricky little set plays like that off free kicks. Some have been successful.
Well, of course, at this stage in that game against England, right on the stroke of half-time, Argentina tied it all up with a well-worked free kick from a very similar position. That time it was a variation on that. Didn't quite work.
As we're in the 45th minute.
Well, the Dutch not happy with that free kick, and I think they've got every right to be as well.
Batistuta brings it down. Stam with him as he sends it over the top. Simeone trying to get it. Davids is right there with him. Now Sensini. Lopez. Reisiger right with him. Reisiger battling Lopez.
Yes, that's been an interesting battle because Lopez has been put on. He's attacked Reisiger, who we were told had a badly bruised foot, was doubtful. And certainly that's been an interesting battle over there.
Throw in on the far side as we move to stoppage time here in the first half. 1 minute of stoppage time. Dangerous situation right there. Zanetti. Batistuta. The shot. Oh, Simeone, the captain, had a great look at it.
Yes, he hit that so well, and Van der Sar could only stand and watch and breathe a sigh of relief when that went just wide. But well set up, good patient build-up this from Argentina, and then Simeone just turned, and you can see there Van der Sar didn't move. All he could do was stand and watch. That was very close. Another coat of paint, and that would have really been trouble for Holland.
Oh, goodness. Carlos Roa.
Well, both goalkeepers in this first half have had some anxious moments. Both have been rescued by the woodwork, and both have been beaten once. This game really delicately balanced.
We have reached halftime here in Marseille. Holland and Argentina tied at 1. And Kluivert, who hadn't played since the first game against Belgium, got Holland on the board first in the 12th minute. And then just 6 minutes later, Lopez came back to get the equalizer. We're tied at 1. Brent and Ty will be back at our World Cup 98 studios in a moment.
World Cup 98 on ABC Sports.
The Argentine goalkeeper has perhaps been the busier of the two. Edwin van der Sar has had a couple of anxious moments. Equal on the corners. It really is a very evenly balanced match at the moment going into the second half.
We've seen a lot of long balls from Argentina so far in this first half. Why do you think that is?
I think they believe that with Jaap Stam and even Frank de Boer in the centre of the defence, they're not the fastest of defenders. Certainly not all that fast on the turn. And I think Argentina are trying to exploit that with the pace of Lopez and also of Ortega coming through from midfield.
Well, what about Batistuta and Bergkamp, their first halves?
Well, for Batistuta, it's been a disappointing first half. He's got 8 touches, but a lot of those, he's come back into midfield. He's really had to fathom for the ball. He hasn't even had a shot in the first half, and but he's been more of a creator this time. As for Dennis Bergkamp, well, he's been very much involved whenever Holland do attack. He's had 10 chances. 10 touches. He's created 3 chances, and of course it was he who created the goal as well, but he hasn't really got only 1 shot on target. So I think they'll be looking to perhaps get both of those players more involved in the second half.
Well, I want to remind you that coming up later today here on ABC Sports at 2:30 Eastern Time, Germany against Croatia. Of course, Germany looking to win their 4th World Cup, and Croatia making their first ever World Cup appearance, and we saw them, Mike, beat Romania on Sukor's penalty kick.
Yes, they look very impressive, didn't they? And they've never beaten Germany. I think Germany had beaten them 4 times, and of course the most famous of those was in the European Championships in 1996 at Old Trafford in Manchester, where Germany run out 2-1 winners.
Now, this is interesting. Holland is out on the field, and now here comes Argentina.
Yeah, shades of the 1978 World Cup final, where Argentina got the Dutch hanging around for some time. It's interesting that Daniel Passarella desperately wants to win this World Cup, because he said the other World Cups that Argentina have been involved in, the finals, have never really given him the satisfaction. Of course, in 1978 there was the military regime, which got a lot of publicity out of that, but only in years after did a lot of the atrocities come to light. In 1986, of course, the World Cup was dominated by that hand of God goal that Maradona scored, and then in 1990s he said lack of finesse and disgraceful behavior on the pitch.
Well, that's 3 of the last 5 World Cup finals, 78, 86, and 90. Who was Maradona's hand of goal?
1986.
Against who?
Against England.
Oh, yes, England. That was the hand of God goal, yes. That, of course, made much play here in France before that England-Argentina game. Trying to wipe the memory of that off the slate, and it didn't happen. Now, the winner of this game will go against Brazil in a terrific matchup next Tuesday right here in Marseille, as Argentina in the blue and white shirts, Holland in the orange. As we get set to start the second half, tied at 1 at the Velodrome in Marseille.
You just wonder how Argentina will stand up as this game progresses. That was a tiring night for them against England.
And we at ABC Sports wish to thank Budweiser, MasterCard, U.S. Army, Nike, FedEx, National Car Rental, and Canon for allowing us to bring you today's game commercial-free. This portion of today's game is presented by Budweiser, commercial-free.
And on top of Argentina having to play those extra 30 minutes, of course, the Dutch game against Yugoslavia was 24 hours earlier, so they have had more time to recover.
Holland being very patient here to start the second half of play. Long ball by Frank de Boer. Shamat gets ahead on it. I would think, Mike, that the mental exhaustion maybe at this stage of the game overwhelms the physical exhaustion in this intense a competition.
I think certainly the mental exhaustion comes into it, but I think for Argentina, with those extra 30 minutes and 24 hours less to recover, I think the physical exhaustion also might come into it the longer this game goes on. And I mean, should it go into extra time, Holland would have to be strongly favored then.
Long ball sent down by Ayala. Now Batistuta runs onto it. Veron. And a very disappointed Frank de Boer sends the ball across the line in a corner coming up for Argentina.
Yes, it's good anticipation there, but he was very disappointed the way that came off his boot. In fact, I think he was trying to concede the throw in, but instead has now conceded the corner.
Claudio Lopez will take the corner for Argentina. High ball turning out, and Cocu got ahead on it. And maybe a little ding in the back as Simeone putting on his captain's badge. Touched it last.
Yes, he was just doing a little bit of pushing as he tried to climb for that. Interesting that Argentina are trying to pull those corners way back into around the penalty spot area, because Van der Sar so dominant around the 6-yard box, 6'6", he's so good in the air, and they're trying to pull those corners a lot deeper now.
Yep, Stam. Ron de Boer back to Stam. Kluivert. Oh, look at Stam now. Stam with some room, tries to get it back to Kluivert. Not much on it as Shamat was right there. But when in doubt, Petr Davids. About Kluivert in general in the first half, Mike, besides the goal, did he play well?
He worked very hard. He tried to create space for his teammates. He is a very good team player.
Reisiger taken off the ball by Veron, who is not able to get it, and a throw in for Holland.
It's so important. I mean, Batistuta's really doing the same job for Argentina because they are prolific goal scorers. They're man-marked, so they try to pull defenders all over the place to create space for other players, and Kluivert does that very well. You can see there going to meet that throw in. And at the moment, he's just there now to try to set something up, and he's come away from the center of the attack.
Yonk. Now backwards to Frank de Boer. To Newman on the far side. Newman sends it in. Bergkamp can't quite get it, but Kluivert, oh, just couldn't get his balance, and he's coming up limping slightly on the right ankle.
Yes, he twisted badly there as he was trying to twist to hit that on the volley. His studs just seemed to get caught in the turf as he tried to turn.
Now Cocu. Newman. Tackled away by Veron.
The one thing the Dutch are missing is certainly the explosive pace of Marco Vermaelen. I mean, Newman's pretty speedy, but Cocu is not the fastest of players. And although Ronald De Boer is trying to do a good job on the right-hand side for Holland, they just missed that explosive pace of Mark Overmars.
Davids able to win it again. Now Newman, left foot, and off Cincini. And now the referee, as Davids runs over, holding on to his mouth, as a corner will be coming up. The referee just told him to get out of here.
Yes, I mean, actually, he got caught in full in the face. And I think he was just trying to explain to the referee, but he's not interested.
Yonk takes the corner. And a push right there as Stam was trying to go up, and Cincini behind him gave him a shove.
Neat play that time by Michael Reisinger. He got himself into trouble, but got himself out of it well.
A long ball. No good for Holland that time. Well, Batistuta, Mike, didn't do anything really in the first half, and boy, he's had such a great tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, 24 shots, 11 of those on goal, and he scored 5 goals. He hasn't come up with a shot today. And I suppose looking at those statistics, you'd say he's having a poor game. He hasn't got good service, but what he is doing, he's doing a lot of unselfish running for the team. He's trying to create space for teammates, because he is a marked man. He is a prolific goal scorer.
Claudio Lopez trying to find Batistuta, and he went the other way.
Well, Batistuta there peeled off, and he actually took Yapstam with him, so there was a hole in the defense. And Lopez, instead of darting into that hole, tried to pick up Batistuta again.
And Cincini commits the foul. He was all over Kluivert that time. That's Cincini, who missed the last couple of games with an injury, and you see Kluivert entangled up.
Yes, made his debut back in 1987, the longest serving player in this Argentine side.
Kluivert really stops that ball so nicely. Koku, this is where he's had some goals from right out on top. Young sends it back to Davids. Koku marked by Veron. Koku just touched there by Veron, so a corner coming up for Holland.
It's Philip Koku off to Barcelona next season. Leaving PSV to join the Dutch colony there at Barcelona with Louis van Gaal, the former Ajax coach, in charge there now.
Yonk with the corner. Kluivert just missed it. He got a piece of it, and quickly Roa sends it out near side. And Reisinger back there along with Davids, and a dangerous situation with Claudio Lopez. And Reisinger able to come up with it. I'd say Holland's amazing like this, isn't it? I mean, it's just amazing. They're able to move the ball so quickly and then get organized, as Kluivert is hit from behind. Like Ayala that came by and gave him a whack.
Yeah, the referee's going to give a free kick, but no card. They're certainly coming off second best. He's taken a bit of a battering out there. We always talk about the temperament of Patrick Kluivert, as we see this neat play from Edgar Davids, which got Holland out of an awkward position and set them up into an attacking mode.
Yonk. Koku. And Ayala got a head on it across the near side, and a throw in for Holland. Roberto Ayala. El Raton, the mouse. Diminutive. Very quick. And this portion of today's game is presented by MasterCard, commercial free.
Cheers from the Dutch fans. In fact, were that would have been Zenden and Pierre Van Hooydonk are warming up on the sidelines. Zenden very, very fast. Another player off from PSV on to Barcelona next season. And Mark Overmars is now getting up to warm up as well. So we could see two old-fashioned wingers brought on to try to break down this Argentine defense for Holland.
Ronald de Boer. Jonk in the middle. Back to de Boer. Bergkamp playing way on the outside right now. Bergkamp chips it in, and Roa comes out once again looking for Kluivert.
Yeah, good safe handling by the goalkeeper that time.
Ortega taken away by Newman, and a foul is called.
Yes, Ortega's the player that's gone down. The Argentine player surrounded the referee trying to get a card for Edgar Davids for that challenge. It was a bit reckless, but
hits you, you know it.
Ortega, the moment he realized the referee wasn't going to give a yellow card, has made a miraculous recovery.
Tied at 1 here in Marseille between Argentina and Holland. The winner to meet Brazil in the semifinal here next Tuesday. Was some beautiful work by Ortega again, and Davids was there to take it away. Kluivert. Sensini will come up to it.
Yes, Kluivert there pushing that too far ahead of him.
Verón near side to Lopez as Reisinger working and showing no signs of the injury, which many thought would preclude him from playing in this game today. How much of that is smokescreen, Mike, when you hear injury talk at this point? Obviously with Overmars it turned out to be a fact, but maybe he's fit enough to play. They just decided the coach is feeling to go with Kluivert.
Well, perhaps Overmars might have a slight strain. They might sort of risk him for the last 20 minutes if they're in a position where they desperately need a goal, which could very well be the case with 11 minutes or so gone in the second half.
Jonk on the free kick. And just the touch to start it to Reisinger. Now Kluivert. Kluivert's classy. He just, the way he touches the ball with the inside, the outside of his foot, able to flick a ball on.
Yeah, it's a crucial time for Patrick Kluivert. He was 22 last Wednesday. He really burst onto the scene as a teenager at Ajax, scoring a winning goal in the UEFA Champions League final. But the last season or so have really been disappointed for him on the field and off the field. And he's had a poor season at AC Milan and really is at the crossroads of his career. This World Cup could really resurrect his whole career if he can have a good World Cup. And of course, we all know it started off disastrously for him.
There's a lack of communication there between Kluivert and Bergkamp as Argentina back in possession in the midfield area. De Boer battling there. Frank de Boer. Newman stops it. Bergkamp. How's this? Newman. Kluivert's on top. Couldn't get him the ball.
Great anticipation, though, by Sensini. That's why he's been brought in. That's why Passarella desperately wanted him fit again. Great anticipation there because Newman was just trying to cut it back for Kluivert, and Sensini, in fact, has got a yellow card.
Well, the orange in the stands. Huge support here for Holland. Long ball, and Roa comes out to handle it easily. I want to remind you that on ESPN2 World Cup tonight, that is tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. Get the most comprehensive coverage of the World Cup soccer action each night on ESPN2. That's World Cup tonight. Throw in for Holland. Bergkamp. He'll just go and take the blast, and Roa was right there as this portion of today's game is presented by the U.S. Army commercial free. As we move to the 60th minute here in Marseille, and Newman taking the ball away from Ortega. Bergkamp trying to get to it as it comes through the area.
Yes, he was well shadowed there by Ayala, who just gave Bergkamp a little nudge as that ball came across, and then another one as he tried to retrieve the ball.
Newman got it from Koku. Newman, oh, nice move there. Newman still with it. And Sensini and Newman collide.
Yeah, Sensini there just coming across and just putting his body in the way. There was no way that Newman was going to be able to get around him without fouling him. That's just good experience from Roberto Sensini, 31 years old. His 54th appearance today.
Has never scored a goal internationally for Argentina, but such a solid performer for them. As Koku running down to the ball, but back there was Ayala, and it'll be a throw-in for Holland.
The Dutch concentrating on that left wing channel. You must feel there's a bit of a weakness there. Certainly Newman and Koku have been combining well over there.
Kluivert flicks it back outside to De Boer. De Boer now to Bergkamp. Bergkamp, look at the way he handles the ball. And Koku was in there, not able to get it as the Dutch maintained possession. Now the crowd, the big orange stripe in the stands where there's nothing but orange all the way up to the top at that end, right behind the goal there, starting to make their noise. As more and more of this half, Mike, being played in their offensive end.
Yes, the Dutch doing well here. They're keeping possession. They're trying to find an opening, but give full marks to Argentina. They close any opening down very quickly.
Kluivert running on. Veron can't handle it. Kluivert flicks it in, looking for Bergkamp. They have tried, Mike, on a number of occasions, and it just hasn't clicked. There have been good ideas as Ronald De Boer wins that ball, and now fought off by Simeone.
Yes, and instructed, in fact, but Simeone got away with it.
And that's a cross and a throw-in for Holland.
Yes, you sometimes wonder that if the Dutch are perhaps trying to walk the ball in the back of the net. There was a good opportunity on that last move where Kluivert was on the edge of the penalty area. Might have been worth in that situation just to let one go, because he tried to pick out Bergkamp, but there were just so many defenders around. It was always going to be a high percentage ball.
Ronald De Boer. Kluivert can't bring it down on his foot, and Ortega will chase it down. As we're in the 63rd minute. Argentina has won 2 World Cups, 78 and 86. Holland has never won the World Cup. They've been to 2 finals as Davids doing battle with Shamat, and now Kluivert with some room. Bergkamp not able to get his foot on it.
Well, Bergkamp there had 2 defenders around him. Argentina have never lost in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They beat England in 1986. They also beat Yugoslavia on a penalty shootout in Italia 90. Of course, quarterfinals not in use in 1930, 1950, 74, 78 or 82 World Cups, but Argentina with a very good record at this stage of this competition.
Holland, of course, lost in the quarters in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl to Brazil in '94, 3-2. Now Bergkamp and Kluivert have been working back and forth. You just have the feeling that something is finally going to click between these 2. Obviously, the goal early on was a combination as Veron to Batistuta. He's not had many chances. Off the post!
Well, Argentina have been under the hammer for the last 10 minutes. It's all been one-way traffic, and then a lightning break with Ortega and Veron, and then this the first shot of the game for Batistuta. And look at that. He hasn't had many opportunities. He went so close that it actually hit the inside of the post and came out.
He had been averaging 6 shots a game coming into this one as Overmars now comes into the game for Holland.
So Mark Overmars comes in.
And that's Overmars, number 14. Such a quick first step. Kluivert off the head. Oh, Roa! Great stuff here.
Great stop from the goalkeeper. That's why Mark Overmars has been brought on. Such a good crosser of the ball. Patrick Kluivert there Good forceful header. Kept his eye on the ball. Textbook header that, and a brilliant save from the goalkeeper.
This portion of today's game is presented by Nike, commercial free, as Bergkamp will take the corner. Stam.
Oh, yep, Stam. Yeah, a free header this time, in fact. Arrived a little bit late in the penalty area. Nobody picked him up until the last moment, as we see that header from Kluivert beautifully tipped over. And at the other end, just seconds earlier, Patastuta nearly giving Argentina the lead.
So Overmars, number 14, in for Holland. Ronald de Boer, number 7, comes out. Ronald de Boer has played so well in this tournament, has a couple of goals. Overmars has scored once and has been such a great setup man for Bergkamp. And of course, the whole thing, Mike, with Holland in this tournament, Bergkamp had those injuries which had kept him out of action 6 to 7 weeks, and there was that question about whether he'd be fit, and the question was answered.
Yes, he's played himself into fitness during this tournament.
Perón, Batistuta, and cleared out. Oh, Bergkamp able to get through. Chased by Almeida from behind. Bergkamp pushed down at the corner of the area. No, play on.
Well, he was getting pushed. There was nowhere he could go, so he was going to go down looking for the penalty, but the referee not interested.
Kluivert. He is a presence. Patrick Kluivert, 6'2", 180 pounds. This man also a presence. Edgar Davids to Newman out on the wing. As Argentina is getting set to send in a substitute.
Pineda waiting to come on.
Number 4. Hector Pineda as Cocu, the left foot, and up into the Dutch section of the crowd behind the goal. The NFL in primetime is exclusively on ABC and ESPN this fall. Sunday Night Football on ESPN as coverage begins at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific. That starts on September the 6th. Then Monday Night Football on ABC, a new time this year at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and that begins on September the 7th. So number 4, Pineda, checks in for Argentina.
Yes, and Almeida is the player that's gone off.
So number 5 comes out.
Pineda, who's only played in one of the games so far in this World Cup final series, but he has scored a goal.
So for Pineda, just his 8th appearance for Argentina. Just 22 years of age, 5'8", 154-pound defender. As Lopez finds Ortega in the middle. Ortega still with the ball. Yeah, the flag went up, and I want to tell you, Stam called it before the assistant on the side.
I think both these referees' assistants today are train guards. Although that one he got right, the flag did go up. But Stam there looked like something out of the full Monty, didn't it? The way the Dutch backline put their hands up that time.
A full Monty. A full Monty right here in Marseille.
You've either been watching the full Monty or Arsenal, one of the two.
There's only one movie on pay TV in France, Mike, and that's a full Monty. As Roa with the goal kick, and the rankings: Holland 25th in the world, Argentina 6th by FIFA. I know you don't put too much credence in those rankings.
No, it'll be interesting to see how they change, or if they change after the World Cup. They're all based on matches and purely results. So basically, I mean, a team that is at the top of the rankings could play a team that's really low down and get a few big wins and all of a sudden be top.
Well, now Holland was 25th and the U.S. was, what, 11th?
Yeah.
There you go. Reisiger trying to bring it on to Bergkamp, take it away. Now bad pass there in the middle as Frank de Boer, number 4, came away with it. Now Newman.
Newman's getting a lot of space on that far side.
That's Cocu. Yonk. Kluivert. Bergkamp will come to Overmars. As we move to the 70th minute, watch Overmars. So quick. Davids. Verone all over. That's a great battle right there. Those are two terrific players.
Yeah, it's both playing Italy's Serie A. Both are coming off very, very good seasons. One player who's getting a lot of manhandling out there at the moment is Dennis Bergkamp, and he's getting no protection and no sympathy from the referee. He's getting pulled from behind. He's getting tripped, and referee and referee's assistants are completely missing that. Bergkamp's becoming very frustrated. That could be a dangerous sign for Holland.
And this could be dangerous here with Lopez, number 7, chipping it on to Batistuta. As we are in Marseille at the Velodrome. Holland in the orange, Argentina in the blue and white jerseys. We are tied at 1. And along with Mike Hill, I'm Roger Twidle. Glad we can be with you on this 4th of July from France as we're in the 71st minute. The winner of this game to meet Brazil in the semifinal right here in Marseille next Tuesday night. As Newman runs onto the ball from Cocu. Referee will give them a corner.
Well, Arthur Newman doing a very good job down that left wing channel for Holland. He just seems to be running out a bit of steam at the moment. I'm just wondering if Gus Hiddink might consider replacing him for the attacking option. But he does need somebody who can also defend, and that's another one of the strong points for Arthur Newman. In fact, he's back now as one of the 2 defenders as Holland have this corner.
Bergkamp taking the corner. Davids will go back to Dennis Bergkamp. Low ball inside, and Roa right there to handle. Now some space on the wing. Lopez. Send it far side. Slipping there briefly was Ortega. Back to Lopez. Davids. 4 defenders right around, and finally taken away. But Overmars loses it. Batistuta. No.
Yes, Veron has been penalized, and that seemed perhaps a harsh decision. Veron seemed to win that quite fairly.
Do you think that the officials from Holland would be upset that there's a Mexican referee and then a Honduran assistant and an assistant from Paraguay? Would there be, I mean, if they would lose this game or whatever, do you think there would be something said?
I think only if they lose the game because of a referee's decision, a bad decision. I think if they influence it, they'll complain wherever they come from.
This portion of today's game is presented by FedEx, commercial free. So after 2 early goals in the 12th and the 18th minute of the first half, as Holland with 6 more shots than Argentina.
Yes, Argentina in the second half have been pinned back, but when they have broken forward, they really look dangerous. And Batistuta shot, of course, coming off the woodwork.
Overmars on the near side. They've dropped Bergkamp back in the middle now with Kluivert out on the far side of him.
Yes, they're trying to put this Argentine defense a little bit off balance at the moment.
Newman marked by Ayala. Bergkamp got ahead on it, but not in the right direction.
Well, he applauds the cross, but I think he'll be too happy here with that header. Of course, Dennis Bergkamp was actually named after a great hero of the ball. His father named him after a great Manchester United forward, Dennis Law, who was Scottish international, who was absolutely sensational in the air. Certainly at that time, Dennis Bergkamp.
Now sending the ball on, the flag goes up offside. Well, Bergkamp has been a prolific scorer. This is 62nd international, 35 goals, previous 61 games.
Yes, equal now top scorer for Holland in their football history. And 1 more to become the leader of all time.
Stam will send the long ball down to Overmars. Look at his quickness. Gets it in there. Oh, cleared there by Ayala.
Yes, the pace there of Mark Overmars. He just did well to keep the ball in, and he's persistent there, has won a corner.
And Yonk will come over in the shadows of the Velodrome to take it. So the greatest amount of consistent offensive pressure has been by Holland in this half, but Argentina's had a couple of breaks, created some space, and had their own opportunities. They've just been much quicker.
Well, the problem is when a team is dominating as Holland are in the second half, and all the pressure, I mean, defenders then start getting frustrated when they see the forwards not scoring, and they seem to drift forward. And they're always then liable to get caught on the break, and that's what Argentina have nearly done on a couple of occasions.
We're into the 76th minute here in Marseille. Overmars, who came on here in the second half, number 14, had suffered a hamstring injury in training. They decided to start Kluivert today. It was the right move because Kluivert got the first goal of the game. But now Overmars is in there. See if he can add something to this Dutch attack as they look to move to the semis. Veron takes it away from Davids. Cocu, not to be, as Reisiger was right there. Now Veron, collides with Davids, and another collision at midfield. Simeone, and now a yellow comes out.
Newman's going to be red.
Newman got a red.
Well, that is a disgraceful decision because the referee there was influenced by the Argentine players. And Arthur Newman has been sent off. Holland now down to 10 men. The referee there was actually initially waving play on, surrounded by Argentine players, went for the card and then realized he'd already booked him.
Shades of England, huh? Although Beckham went off much earlier. That's the captain, Simeone. Well, Simeone did about 4 somersaults.
Well, Arthur Newman, absolutely furious. He's not a dirty player. He was rather unfortunate to get a yellow card in the first half. He can count himself very unfortunate in the second half. Holland now down to 10 men.
So the 2 yellow cards for Newman, and he is gone. Well, the question about the referee and his assistants, I think will come to the fore.
Well, I think it will now, because that's just a bad decision. I don't care where the referee came from. You could come from South America, you could come from Europe, and the referee makes a bad decision. It's a bad decision. And Simeone, I mean, he went down as if he had been poleaxed. He's been carried off the stretcher, and immediately now stepped forward and wants to come straight back on.
Well, this portion of today's game is presented by National Car Rental, commercial free, and yeah, Simeone's ready to come back in, and that draws a lot of boos from the crowd here. So Holland will now play a man down
for the remaining 13 minutes, plus, of course, if it goes into extra time, another 30.
And Argentina is used to this, as this is what happened in their game against England, except much earlier when Beckham was sent off. And really, you know, Mike, in all honesty, after Beckham went off, rather uninspired play by Argentina. I thought England did a terrific job to create a lot of chances for themselves.
Well, it was Simeone who was involved in the David Beckham sending off, and now he's managed to get another player sent off.
So the situation here with less than 13 minutes to go, tied at 1, and of course if it is tied at the end of regulation, all matches must produce a winner, and we would go to 30 minutes of time, and they would play with 10 men in that 30 minutes, 15 minutes each way. And then if still tied, we would go, of course, to the penalty kick shootout, which Argentina prevailed in their victory over England 4-3 in the penalty kicks.
Well, they haven't lost on a penalty shootout. Of course, they needed a couple of those at Italia 90. Dispatched Italy in the semi-finals on a penalty shootout, as well as Yugoslavia in the quarterfinals. So Argentina have a very good track record, something that Holland don't have in penalty shootouts. Of course, they were eliminated from Euro 96 on a penalty shootout by France.
far side, Clivert and Cincini, and once again the call goes to Argentina. Well, I would say today, Mike Hill, that more calls have gone in favor of the Argentines than of the Dutch.
Yes, I mean, you hate to see it. You hate to see games sort of decided by officials, but certainly any 50-50 decision has favored Argentina in this game.
As we are in the 81st minute here from Marseille, and Argentina with Ortega, Verón, Zanetti sending it inside, Batistuta.
Well, that's two opportunities Batistuta's had today. One with the foot, which he hit the post, and that header, which he won and just glanced it wide.
Remember, Mike, it was 5 goals, 2 have been penalty kicks. And of course, he had the second fastest hat trick in World Cup history against Jamaica, where he had 3 goals in an 11-minute span. But he's been a prolific goal scorer in Italy, and that's such great defensive soccer there.
Yes, he's well marked in Italy, but he does take the few chances that come to him, and that's the great thing with Batistuta. You can keep him quiet, but all of a sudden just give him a half chance, and it's in the back of the net.
I want to remind you, coming up later today here on ABC Sports at 2:30 Eastern Time, Germany will take on Croatia in a quarterfinal matchup. Germany's looking to win their 4th World Cup. Croatia, their first trip to the World Cup. That's coming up later today as our live coverage of World Cup 98 continues here on ABC Sports. And the winner of this game goes against Brazil next Tuesday night, right here at the Velodrome in Marseille.
Sending off what it has done now. The Dutch have slowed the game right down. They're just trying to keep possession. And what was a very good attacking spectacle has now all of a sudden really gone off the boil.
This portion of today's game is presented by Canon, commercial free. Well, I think it's disappointing for the fans whenever a situation like that involves. Newman was sent off with his 2nd yellow of the game, but the collision at midfield didn't look like anything out of the extraordinary was done there, Mike, on that play.
No, Simeone, I think, did an Academy Award performance, looking for an Oscar. He conned the referee, got carried off on the stretcher, stepped off the stretcher, and came straight back on the field.
I think that's really, in all honesty, a part of this sport that maybe a lot of Americans don't understand, and why so many players do get away with it, because obviously they're not injured that bad, and that the referees do buy into it.
Well, FIFA insisted on the stretcher to try to speed the game up. What it does do, in fact, if anything, slows it down.
Absolutely. Well, the chants of the crowd, listen, boring.
Well, certainly what had been a very interesting, exciting end-to-end game has now really gone off the boil.
Very entertaining game. First half was terrific, absolutely terrific. As you see Ortega there.
What the Dutch have had to do now is pull Dennis Bergkamp from an attacking role into a midfield defensive role.
Davids, Edgar Davids, Clivert. Overmars in the middle, and Ayala takes it away.
Davids there just caught in 2 minds, whether to try to go past Ayala and have a shot himself, or try to set it up for Patrick Kluivert. Took too long to make the decision.
Now here comes Argentina. Simeone. Oh, look at that fall. Yeah, there you go.
And Simeone again appealing to the referee.
Not a chance.
The referee now having a word with Simeone.
That was Ortega that went down. Now Verón will take the blast, and Van der Sar is right there.
Well, Verón hit this one very, very well. Good at long-range shooting. That time, though, straight at Van der Sar.
Overmars, but right there was Shamat. Bergkamp throw in for Argentina. Trying to find on the near side Pineda, the substitute in the second half. He's not able to bring it down. Each team has substituted once. In the 86th minute, we're tied at the end of regulation. That'll be the sudden death extra time. The golden goal, which France got in the 113th minute against Paraguay, the first in World Cup history, is Zanetti, number 22, working on Cocu. Zanetti, and Cocu got a piece of it, and they're going to get a corner. Argentina's going to get a corner.
Well, I think the Dutch might have an argument there. Cocu was certainly off the field, but I don't think he let the ball go out of play. So we'll look and see if we can see. There's Cocu, he's off the field. Yes, the ball was over the line. See it on that angle.
Ortega to take the corner for Argentina. We're tied at 1 minutes remaining here from Marseille, and Bergkamp heads it out to midfield. Neither of these teams have done much in the tournament off corners so far. As we move to the 87th minute, and Zanetti running onto the ball. Zanetti sends it across, and nobody was there. Way too high for Batistuta, who was right at the front door.
Yes, Batistuta there made a very good run to the near post, and that's the sort of thing we were saying earlier. They've got to give him the service. The pass across, though, from Zanetti left a lot to be desired.
Chamat will get it to Batistuta. Nice ball there to Chamat, but David's able to clear it to Bergkamp, and Veron knocks it down. Now Simeone, Batistuta, Zanetti, Ortega, and Simeone has it cleared out by Reisiger. Back to Ortega. Stam loses him momentarily. Now Stam brings him down.
Now I think the referee there is going to... Now Ortega is... He's got to go.
He's got to go. Yeah, he gets the red.
Well, he was going to get the yellow card for the play action and the dive in. And then for the headbutt, which was a silly reaction.
Unbelievable. I mean, you wonder what these guys think about. I mean, these are professional players in the biggest tournament of their lives, and they do something like that.
Well, there was the dive over Stam's legs. The referee, I think, was going to go over and give him the yellow card for that anyway. And then he got up and headbutted. So he's down to 10 apiece now.
Well, Ortega's 5'7". Van der Sar's 6'6".
Yeah, he just caught him under the chin as he stood up. I think Van der Sar might be doing a bit of acting as well, but...
Well, we are equal now, Mike.
Yes, the referees evened it up.
Now we'll have some stoppage time, but we're officially in the 89th minute.
And that could be a big blow for Argentina, because Ortega is such a creative player, and he was certainly causing the Dutch defense some problems.
So Ariel Ortega, who's had 2 goals and 2 assists in this tournament, goes off with a headbutt to the chin of Van der Sar.
Bergkamp gets the ball away that time.
Lopez, who has the goal for Argentina, with Stam back there. Center it, Batistuta, and over his head as Frank de Boer was right there with him.
Yes, the worrying point for Holland there would have been Jaap Stam again was struggling against Lopez. It's not been a good tournament so far for Jaap Stam.
Now Bergkamp running onto the ball. Bergkamp, the chip, score! Holland!
Absolutely brilliant from Dennis Bergkamp. What a marvellous finish. But look at this long ball forward and how Bergkamp brings this under control, steps inside the defender and from the outside of the boot into the top corner. Marvellous skill. And he got away from Ayala. There was still a lot to do.
Third goal of the tournament for Dennis Bergkamp. His 36th for Holland, as he's now become the all-time leading scorer in Dutch history. Beautiful pass, though, and I didn't get the man, Mike, as maybe we'll see another replay. But a beautiful ball as we're in stoppage time now. Both teams down a man, and we have got 4 minutes of stoppage time. 4 minutes for Holland to move on against Brazil here next Tuesday night in the semifinal of the World Cup '98.
Well, Argentina now will throw everything at Holland. Abel Balbo, who played in World Cup '90 and '94, is looking to come on. An out-and-out striker. One last throw of the dice for Daniel Passarella and Argentina. And Balbo is coming on. Only his second appearance of this World Cup.
Chamat will come out. Number 3 comes out. And 18, Abel Balbo, a veteran, his 3rd World Cup. 32 years of age.
So it's all or nothing now for Argentina. They've got to go out and try to tie this up.
Now the orange.
Here's the hero for Holland,
yes.
Dennis Bergkamp.
Lays it on down to Davids. Edgar Davids. Kluivert off the head and over the top. And Kluivert's down.
He's still rolling in agony. He got caught by Ayala.
He doesn't realize either he's hurt that bad or he doesn't realize, because Argentina's on the attack now. So Kluivert's still down in his offensive area as Lopez tries to send it in. So 2 players sent off, 1 for Argentina, 1 for Holland. As Kluivert is moved back into play, and Stam heads it out as Perron gets it, as we are 2.5 minutes into the 4 minutes of stoppage here in Marseille. Holland has never won a World Cup. Argentina has won 2 in 78 and 86. Holland, Mike, has been in 2 finals. They've lost to host nations, one of which was Argentina.
Yes, and I suppose one would have to say, along with the great Hungarian side of 1954, the Dutch team of 74, perhaps the 2 best teams never to have won a World Cup.
Simeone got ahead on it. Now, Batistuta inside. Oh, goodness, over the top there was Sensini. He has never scored he's never scored an international goal for Argentina.
It was a good effort, wasn't it? But Van der Sar had a good side of it, was well positioned.
Well, they'll remember, if things don't change, that shot off the post by Batistuta, as we're more than 3.5 minutes into stoppage time here in Marseille, and another Dutch player down. That was Jonk. He's getting up now, though. Dangerous ball right here.
Yes, it's been a pulsating match, hasn't it? Except for that 10-minute spell after the Dutch were reduced down to 10 men, the edge really went out of the game. And as soon as Argentina went down to 10 men, all of a sudden the competitive spirit came back.
And that's it! That's it! Holland has beaten Argentina here in Marseille 2-1. The winning goal by Dennis Bergkamp.
And Simeone going over and remonstrating with the referee. Daniel Passarella up quickly to congratulate the Dutch.
Well, as as the French would say, voila. Mike, what a game.
What a game. And Dennis Bergkamp, perhaps the goal of the tournament so far. Skill, precision, great finishing. That did it.
The final 2-1 for Marseille. For Mike Hill, I'm Roger Twibell. Holland goes on to meet Brazil in the semis. Let's go back to Brent Musburger.